I have found that over the years, most of us doing church communications may not even have applied for the job.
Hey everyone, Patrick Elkins here with the CCN, the Church Creatives Network, which is a space designed for church creatives to intersect, interface, and learn and grow with one another, a space where we can all share, discover resources that equip us to better serve the church. One of the ways we do this is by highlighting different people as well as their stories, sharing about their experience, the tools and the resources that they offer. Today, I'm here with Barbara Carneiro from Accidental Church Communicator. Not only does she lead a team that helps churches find their identity and define their culture, but they also offer a 7-week church communications boot camp, not to mention their upcoming conference happening October 3 through 5 in Charlotte, North Carolina, that she's going to share about here in just a moment. Barbara, I'm so excited for this conversation today. It's so good to have you with us.
Hey, it's nice to see you. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about what is Accidental Church Communicators? What's the purpose? What do you guys even do?
Yeah, a good question. Well, I have found that over the years, most of us doing church communications may not even have applied for the job. It's one of those things where you're doing some things, you may be serving at church at a certain capacity, and because you either understand the internet or you know some graphics or you've made a couple of logos, or suddenly you're doing pro presenter slides, and then the next thing you know you're doing a website. And so I have found that these tasks are being added to something else that we're doing, or a talent was uncovered, right? So a person is now identifying how to utilize their creative skills for the church, and then suddenly you absorb all of these new tasks. And so I have a huge passion to serve that person, the accidental church communicator. And so we have a group. That group is now on Facebook, and we have also a cohort. So the idea of the cohort is to guide you through. It's like a done with you approach, where we help you go from accidental to just being that confident communicator that you can be, or that you desire to be. I know that you can get a lot of church communications stuff everywhere. Like nowadays, it's really easy. But my focus is mainly on helping you think, connect you with another person that is doing what you're doing. So it's more of the foundational pieces that I think sometimes, we might stay at the surface level for a long time, finding a tactic here or a tool there, but let's get a little bit deeper. Find somebody that can mentor you, mentor somebody else that is behind you. And so in those connections, connecting people with people, but also learning to get out of that hamster wheel of chasing Sundays. That is the goal. That is the end goal, is to help people think, to get them down to that strategic level, planning ahead, and then having that time to engage in community with others that are doing the same thing you're doing.
That's so incredible. I'm curious just to hear a little bit as well about your personal background, your personal story, and just why you're so passionate about serving the church.
Well, I've been an agency owner for 22 years now, so it's been the thing that I've been doing for a while. But it wasn't until 12 years ago that I came to faith, and so I find that a lot of people that are in these roles are doing the opposite, right? So they grew up in the church, and now they're kind of trying to use their talents in the creative realm. And so in my case, it's like, okay, well, I've done this for a while. I've been in the marketing spheres and doing those things. But then I had to oh, this is church. This is what church, getting to understand the faith side of things. And so I believe that in many ways, my perspective is a little different than most of the church communicators out there. Because again, I already had that part. Now I was trying to figure out how these things match. And one of the biggest questions I used to ask myself was this, how come things, we can plan ahead, we can organize things, we can, build teams and get all these things going at the agency, and we couldn't figure that out for church. Like, what is
Yeah.
what is different about it? Why is this
Yes.
thing not connecting? Why are we not planning ahead? Why are we doing things Saturday nights? And why are we doing the Pro Presenter slides on Sunday at 6 a.m.? Like, I just couldn't connect those dots. So there was a lot of questions in my mind that I just, set up to just like, okay, I'm gonna have to find out, first of all, why it's happening this way. And second, how can we fix it? How can we do something about allowing that creativity and that, imagination and all of it, like, to work in a space like the church?
Because we're all free spirits. We got to just go with the inspiration, right? No.
Well, I say that the Holy Spirit is for planning. So, he can
That's
tell you
right.
things the night before, but he can also tell you things a week before and a month before. And so I do believe that that type of divine inspiration is a secret weapon that we have that the world doesn't have.
That's
But
right.
for whatever reason, we feel like it only comes the day before. Now, I do know that God is an interrupter. I believe that he loves to come in those moments where it's just so obvious that it's him. I think we need to cherish those and really embrace those moments where he comes and interrupts and says, hey, that way instead. I think those are precious, but it's going to be a lot easier for you to accommodate those when everything else is working and
Yeah.
organized, planned, and thought out. And so I want to bring that thought process into the church. I want to bring that ability to say, hey, let's invite the Holy Spirit 3 months prior. And it's interesting, during COVID, working with some of the churches that we have as clients, it was really neat to see people preaching on the same thing. It still happens to this day, where I'm like, oh my gosh, this one is in Missouri, this one is in Texas, and they're literally preaching on the same thing. And so you can tell that there's some sort of like a unity and not to
Yeah.
say that
Same
everybody
spirit.
should be preaching on the same, but there's something about like, okay, God's doing something, because there's no way these two could have talked to each other. And then something would happen at a national level, right? That you'd be like, wow, somehow God prepared these two pastors in particular to preach on the same thing. So we've
Yes.
seen those things. I believe there's a lot of divine inspiration that we can capture and really embrace. But again, be prepared for those in a way that allows you to accommodate for that instead of losing, because, oh, well, something else is coming up. We're not going to do that. We're just going to follow the
Yeah.
program, because otherwise we wouldn't know how to do it. Right. So that's my passion. And I think
I
that
love
coming
that.
to faith after having already the experience in marketing and communications, has just given me a different perspective that I think is just as valuable to the church as the other one, because I
Yeah.
love talking to people that grew up in the church and they're talking about the narthex, and I was like, I don't even know what that is. Like, I can put in the map if you want, but I don't know what that is. Like, what is it? Like, I literally had to Google some words that people were saying. And so
Wow.
there's a richness in that experience coming from faith first that I can't have. And that's why I think it's so valuable for us to, I love the idea of always be mentored and always be mentoring. So
Yes.
who's ahead of you that can guide you, and who's behind you that you can help? And
Yes.
isn't that biblical? That's the whole principle of discipleship, is learning from those that came before us and teaching those behind us. So
Wow, I love that. And I know that one of the ways that your team is discipling is that you've got this conference coming up.
yes.
Can you share the vision? Share what's the idea
Yeah.
behind this event? Where did it originate and what's the vision behind the conference?
Yeah. So I'll tell you the true story and then the version that I'm telling people. The true story is I love hosting. I just love having it. I just love doing it. And so it's really a big part of me, of who I am, to host and to gather people. And so in many ways, it's a very selfish endeavor. It's like, I tell my husband, like, if I could, I would host people in my house once a week. He would just kill me, but that's, it's just the reality. But that for me is like, and imagine not only hosting, but hosting like-minded people that, understand the dynamics of what you're doing on a daily basis. So that's the selfish version. But the vision behind creating a conference for the Accidental Church Communicator specifically is that, all of the tactics and all of the new ideas and trends, they're all out there. Like, you don't have to go anywhere for that. You can Google it, you can learn it, you can even implement it in your own church. I think there's more power in two things. Again, first, the foundational stuff, like, hey, can we get out of the building for a little bit, get out of the church building, out of the office, and get yourself into a place where you can brainstorm, think, and
Yes.
strategize and pray with other people so that you can get a different perspective on your church. That's one of the reasons why we're meeting in an art gallery this year.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, so because I want, what happens when you get out of your church building and you go to a conference and you go to another church building? You're going to be like, oh, this is how they do their signage. This is how they do their TVs. This is how, and now you're in comparison mode, and now you're in work mode, and I need you out of that work mode. Let's go
Wow.
into a place where clean canvas, like we're going to start from a blank canvas, just taking you to a place where you can just think about your church from a different angle and see it from a different angle. So I want you out of the building. We've met in the metaverse the first year, and then in a barn last year, and this year we're meeting in an art gallery for that reason. So that is a big component, is getting people out of what is comfortable and normal and expected, and just place them into a different scenario, because that will put you into a different type of thinking. Our first day is going to be led by a Disney Imagineer, and is just on imagination, brainstorming, thinking, creativity. And so he's going to be leading us through a brainstorming exercise, and I can't be more excited about that. I'm just like, yeah, that's exactly what we need to do. And the second part about the conference is that I do want it to be super relational.
Yeah.
And so last year we had 50 people, and I asked them, hey, should we double? Should we make this as big as we want it to be, or should we keep it at 50? And funny enough, nobody picked to make it as big as you want it to be. So I just, like, most people picked to keep it at 50.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a very interesting result. So this year we're actually trying to get to 100 people in the room, but we're probably going to keep these at a smaller size. And again, God can change this later, but my goal is to simply say, hey, can you come into a room where you can actually have conversations? And so the sponsors are not going to have booths. They're going to sit at the table with you. They're going to have a meal with you. So all of the meals are provided. We're going to have these, farm tables. We're all going to share a meal. We're going to pray together. So I want you, instead of you getting, leaving with another pen or mug from a sponsor, I want you to actually sit down with them and ask their story and tell them your story. So these types of conversations and engagement is really at the core of what we're trying to do. So the good news is that all the speakers will be there as well. There's no green rooms. They will sit with you. You'll get to chat with them. You'll get to walk with them. You'll get to have a meal, pray together. So if you have questions that you wouldn't, raise your hand to ask in public, I want you to have that opportunity to sit down with the speakers. So we do have, besides the Disney Imagineer, we're going to have my friend Jeff from Elevation Church. He's talking about design thinking, which I absolutely love. And he's bringing a team of people. It would be amazing to kind of get an insight on how they do. But outside of this representation from Elevation, all the other speakers are practitioners. These are people that are doing the same things you're doing. So we'll have a workshop on how to create a marketing plan, one workshop on how to create a communications plan. And these are the most practical pieces we have. Everything else we're going to be focusing on the mindset, the things that really, the foundational stuff that if you do now, you're going to grow. Like, just think of your department as something that is multiplying, growing, developing, expanding. And that's what I see.
Yes.
And I'm not talking just growth in number. I'm talking about growth in the maturity of how you're leading that department, the ability to build teams, the ability to communicate with others in a more effective way. And then let God do the growing. He does the growing.
I love that. And it's such a powerful, it's a unique, and it's a creative approach to how to actually get people together, form relationship, get them out of their element and into a place where they can actually receive something new and different and not be distracted by all the normal things. I love that, Barbara. How can people connect with you? Where can they find the conference? How can they sign up?
Yeah, so the group on Facebook is literally called Accidental Church Communicators. It's the easiest way to find us. I know it's super long, but that way you know exactly what you're getting. And the conference, again, is like the longest URL in the world. But again, for the sake of clarity, it's Church Communicator Conference. Church Communicator Conference. That's it. You're going to go there. You're going to find, some things from last year. People ask me often, will it be live streamed? And my answer so far has been no. And the reason why is because none of us needs more content. We just don't need more content. What we need is to think differently, develop those relationships, and experience something that will take us to a different way of seeing our job, our ministries, and the way that we see even our church. And so I want you in the room. I want you in the room. And that's the biggest question I've been asking myself as I'm developing the conference. I'm talking to my team. I was like, okay, how can we allow other people that can't physically come, because we have limitations, like people from other countries that can't get a visa, for example. Like, how can we expand the conference without just live streaming? Because that type of consumption of content is not the design that we have for the conference. And so we've been like, brainstorming ideas, like, how can we do that? How can we allow other people to be a part of this, but without it just being a feed that goes out? Isn't it amazing that that's the same question that churches might be asking themselves? How can we minister to those online, right? How can we make them a part of what we're doing? And so it's not just a broadcast, that's TV.
That's right. But if you crack that code, I think there are going to be so many people who are just excited to engage with these new ideas and these new approaches with how to actually engage that online community, that live stream experience. How do you help somebody feel like they're there in the room and actually capturing all of the quality of what's happening there in person?
Yeah. So that's one little code we're trying to crack. And if we don't do it for this one, that is okay. I know that God is going to find a way to make us, expand in a way that doesn't compromise the heart of the conference. And like I said, he's the one inspiring me to make some decisions. It was funny when it came to the speakers. I remember feeling like, okay, I need to announce it. And I always felt this gentle, like break, saying, not yet, not yet, not yet. And it's interesting how he has been the one even giving me names. So it just happened yesterday. Well, 2 days ago, I said, God, I still need one person, one speaker. I still need one speaker. Who is it? And it was almost like it was as clear as night. He brought the name of one person straight to my heart. Wow. And I just reached out to him, and I spoke to him, and it was amazing. Like the dynamics, like the gratefulness, the yes was almost immediate. He's like, yes, I absolutely would love to be a part of this. And I was like, wow, God knew without me knowing anything about that. And so he has been the one kind of guiding the pace as well. And I'm in a rush to like, let's get this thing done. And but isn't it amazing how sometimes God will give you things before you even need it, and sometimes he's waiting for, there's a perfect timing for things. And so I just want to be in that place where I'm taking care of my parts, allowing him to come in when he wants to give us those little divine inspiration moments.
That's such a powerful word, I think, for all of us to learn what it looks like to be patient and wait on the Lord. There are moments when he's calling us to take action. There's moments that we actually just need to be silent and still and wait on him. And I love that, Barbara. I love your heart. For everyone who's watching, you can find the Accidental Church Communication space actually under our communications collection. It's tagged with the word equip, again, because this is a resource that's designed to equip you to better serve the church. If you haven't yet, make sure you find and follow Barbara here in the CCN. And today we hope you were inspired by this conversation. If you haven't already, we invite you to join the Church Creatives Network. Visit our website, www.churchcreatives.net. Click the link to join. That's all there is to it. Again, I'm Patrick Elkins, and until next time, thanks for watching, and keep serving the church with passion and with excellence.